So, just a quick disclaimer before we start the video. I'm going to be trying to do this video in 720p 60 frames per second instead of the usual 1080p 60 frames per second. I want to see how the workload differentiates from when editing versus, 720p to 1080p. If I have less crashing issues, if the render itself is a lot longer, which I'm sure it'll be a lot shorter in comparison to 1080p. And not only that, but the file size itself. This is a temporary thing, maybe permanent. We're going to see how it works. So I woke up this morning and I saw this on the news.
Wow. Doesn't surprise me. It's like what I said was true. Oh my gosh. Oh.
And the funny part is that, whenever it involves a company who is considered innovative, such as Sony, Microsoft, Apple, the thing is, they'll go under these guys as like, oh, we're just trying to make the technology better, we're trying to make everyone happy that uses it. No. The end goal for a business, for a company, for these technology companies, is to make more and more money. That is the end game. What they do with that money is completely up to them, but they're looking for money. Now the thing is, you guys are gonna be like, oh, Josh, you hate Apple, probably never ever bought an Apple product before, and you're just, one of those other slapstick YouTubers who are just complaining about Apple, this and that, and how much you hate them, and I'm just, piggybacking on all that. No, I, for a long time, have been pretty adamant about my stance with Apple. I've had horrible experiences with Apple. Not to mention what's currently going on with the news. Apple finally admits that they're slowing down older hardware for various reasons. They say it's to improve the battery life because the batteries they die out. If the battery is really an issue, make the batteries removable. Make them removable. What's the problem? What is the problem with having a removable battery that you could replace if the battery itself is damaged? There's no excuse, Apple. If the battery was literally all you're looking for, you would have already made replaceable battery packs. You would have already done it a long time ago. Now, the first Apple product I've ever owned was the iPod Touch 4th generation. I think it was like a 16 gigabytes. I think that was the biggest they came in back then. It was something like that. And when the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 6 started coming out and these updates were rolling on my iPod, I'm like, wait, things are running a lot slower, very noticeably. Thinking, and the conclusion I came up with was that through these updates, they're purposely slowing down your hardware. So if you were to test out like the next Apple product, you would notice a significant speed difference between your slow iPod or iPhone 4 compared to like the super fast iPhone 6. See, now the thing is, they said they're slowing it down to, reserve the battery, make your battery last longer. When in all reality, they're only doing this so that you have a reason to go to the next iPhone generation. So when you upgrade, it's like, oh wow, what a difference. When in reality, there's probably not much difference. They're just literally gimping their own hardware just so they can get an extra buck out of you. And personally, I've known this for a long time. I've had nothing but problems with every single iOS version update. I currently have an iPod Touch 5th generation, 32 gigs, and it has the flashlight on it. And boy, let me tell you, literally nothing but problems with Apple. My iPod Touch 5th generation runs so much slower than when I got it day one. And let me doing a factory reset, thinking maybe your iPod is just cluttered. Maybe you have a bunch of pictures, or maybe you have a small virus. Factory reset, I try if the factory reset is equivalent to like a format for your handheld electronic device, then that's what I did. That's the closest thing I could get to formatting that I know of, and none of the problems were fixed. Apple knows this. They're trying to make money. They don't care about what you, the consumer, wants. They're only going to hide behind the lies, so you, the consumer, don't see them for who they are and these tactics that they're using in order to make another dollar out of you, the consumer. I mean, they even removed the 3.5mm jack and then offered an adapter plug-in just to get your headphones back in. Making space, right? No, they're just trying to sell you another peripheral, that's all. They just want to make another dollar out of you, and they know it. If you, the consumer, somehow thinks, no, they're trying to innovate, you know, maybe the headphone jack was taking up space, maybe, no. There is no reason that a tiny headphone jack, if you've opened up any device and seen the actual size of a 3.5mm jack, it's really tiny. It's really, really tiny. So this excuse that, you know, their phones don't have enough space for it is just a complete lie. And you, the consumer, if you believe Apple, if you're already a consumer with them, you might continue to trust them and their lies, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't hold yourself to the whims of these companies. You should hold them to a higher standard. You have your vision on them. You want them to do better than what they already do. You don't want them to just be like, hey, you know, we're here and we're okay here. No, you want them to do better. You would want them to not limit themselves. You would want them to progress, even if there's no point in progressing. There's no competition, because in all reality, company's not going to do much. If it can get business just standing still where it's at with no actual real progression, they're going to do it if there is no one to compete against them, because competition favors innovation. Now, I don't know if this is a problem with iPhones or iPod Touches or anything specific, but I've had a problem with this specific iPod Touch 5th generation, where about every day now, it asks me to go into my settings and to verify my email and account for my Apple ID. And I do it, and I am not exaggerating when I say this. I swear on my life, I am not exaggerating. After it asks for me to input my password and verify my ID in my account, it then tells me, keep in mind, this happens every single day, no exaggerations whatsoever. It tells me my ID is locked. It tells me my account has been locked, and I need to unlock it, or I need to change my password. This is an everyday occurrence. This is why I stopped. This is why I don't use this. I have it. Sometimes I charge it, and I'll browse the internet. But every single time that I ever need to use it, I have to unlock it by going to their website, inputting my password on the website, clicking unlock, then being forced to change my password, then rewrite my password down. And it happens so much, and I'm literally not kidding you, it happens on such a daily basis that I have to make up so many new passwords. And if I try to use an old password within like the past 6 months, it says it's invalid. I can't do it. I have to make up passwords. I have so many variations of capital letters and extra numbers that it's ridiculous. The literal only way I'm able to remember my actual new password that I set for my Apple ID is if I write it down in my notes in my iPod Touch. Apple, I don't like you as a company. I really don't. You've done virtually nothing in the past 10 years. Pretty much nothing. I mean, yeah, you popularized the smartphone, but that was it. That's literally it. You didn't do anything. What did you do, Apple? What could you have done? What could you have done to change the game, to make things better, to add new features? When I say features, I mean something that is substantial enough, and that's not software-based, like the 3D emoji thing that tracks your face. That's not innovation in my eyes. For the lack of a better word, it's just a goofy thing. That's it. First, you have the touch print ID scanner. Now you have the facial recognition. Why don't you, before anyone else does anything, do something a little bit more unique? Like, you're able to unlock your smartphone by talking. Say unlock. It'll recognize my voice, my vocal patterns, and when I say unlock, the phone itself will unlock. Something that is not easily replicable with, you know, if my voice was recorded, you know, there would be compression, and then there would be audio loss, and it wouldn't be the same as hearing me saying unlock in person for my microphone to pick up. Do something that differentiates yourself. It doesn't make you look like you're copying anyone, like you have done with Android for quite a few years, actually. I don't want to sit here and say I hate Apple. I don't want to say I hate any company, but I hate these practices that they do. They really don't care about the consumer. They only care about, you know, what would the consumer buy? See, there's a difference between what would the consumer want and what would the consumer want to buy. There's a very fine line of a difference between the two. Well, thank you very much for watching this video today. I'm just gonna leave my exercises last after this, just so it's included in my daily video. I'll see you guys later. Have an awesome day, have an awesome night, whenever you're watching this, and peace out.